Hey guys, this is Seth, Keeping It Real. I'm very excited because today we get to talk to Jennifer Dunn. She is the content creator for TaxJar. Did I get that right, Jennifer?
Chief of content, content creator, whatever you want to say.
Chief of content, I like it even better. Chief of content for TaxJar. There are companies out there who can help you manage your sales tax collections. And sales tax is oftentimes a question that terrifies people. Some people lose sleep overnight over it. And you're afraid of, what if I'm doing something wrong and I don't know? Or what if I'm living risky, making taxes? I would, but it's so complicated and such a pain in the butt, and I don't know what I'm doing. Why would I even worry about it? And I get that, and I've been there. And so what I'm going to do is, the purpose of this training is to help you as much as possible understand how to manage your risk, what you're supposed to do, what tax nexus is. We're going to break it down, make it as clear as possible so you're not freaking out about it. And as well, if you want to take a next step, Jennifer and her team can provide an automated service that takes care of this for you. As simple as telling you how much you've collected so you can see, know exactly what to put on the tax form, or even taking care of filing those taxes for you directly from your bank account. And you can use that if you want. If you do it through Just One Dime, you get a 10% discount. And this training is only for Just One Dime members. So that's why this video is unlisted on YouTube. It's there, but people can't find it or use it. So she's just going to take us through a whole-on presentation to help you understand how to take care of tax collection when you're selling on Amazon or really any online marketplace. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here, and the stage is yours.
Well, thanks so much, Seth. Yeah, I really appreciate being here and educating Just One Dime members. I am going to share my screen and then try to get my screen big here for y'all. So just give me 1 second while I'm doing that. And then, so Seth, do you see my screen okay?
I see it and it looks great.
Perfect. All right, so what I'm going to go over for you guys today, I'm going to spend about 40 to 45 minutes going on about sales tax for FBA sellers. Now, we call this a sales tax boot camp, but this is going to be the easiest boot camp you've ever done, so I don't think you're going to have to sweat over this. Yeah, you know, some people are turned off by the word boot camp. Like, yeah, I understand that completely. I'm Jennifer Dunn. I'm Chief of Content at TaxJar. What I'm quickly going to go over, or what I'm going to go over today, is sales tax basics, tips specifically for Amazon FBA sellers, but even if you don't sell on FBA, you're going to get a lot out of this. I'm going to share with you some next steps. Say you're ready to tackle sales tax, I've got you covered there, and some resources for help in the future. And we are not live today, so I won't be taking questions. However, I have several ways you can contact me at the end. So if you have questions, write them down, and you will find out how to contact me at the end of this.
Awesome.
Now, this is me. I am the Chief of Content and Community at TaxJar. So if you're in our Facebook group, or if you read our blog, then you've probably read some things that I've written. I write the blog. I also have 9 years of experience in e-commerce tax, and oh gosh, that's about to be 10 years. Oh, Lordy. Before I was with TaxJar, I was with Outright.com, which became GoDaddy OnlineBookkeeping.com. I wrote their blog and did their community. I talked to just thousands of online sellers, sales tax pros, auditors, and states. And I'm here to just educate you and help you make informed decisions about sales tax. The people I talk with every day are people who, like you, who are watching this video. You're making a living online. There's people who are at varying levels of, getting started, or varying levels of seriousness. Some people this is a fun hobby that they enjoy. Some people, you are leaving a legacy for your family. So we work with people of all types. A lot of the people that we work with are multi-channel FBA sellers. By multi-channel, I mean maybe you sell on FBA, but you also have a Shopify store. Or you got your start on eBay and now you've branched into FBA. You want to be educated about sales tax. You want to, you're serious. You want to know about all the aspects of your business. A lot of them are trying to determine where they have sales tax nexus. Now, if nexus doesn't sound familiar to you, we will go over that in detail here in a minute. But if you do know the term sales tax nexus, you will know that people have a lot of questions about it. So we will go over that. A lot of the people I talk to, you're having sales tax being collected in different accounts. And what that means is eBay's collecting, you're collecting sales tax through eBay, you're collecting it through Shopify, you're collecting it through Amazon. Or people I talk to have been dealing with sales tax on their own. Maybe you've been selling for a while and you've been filing your sales tax returns and you are pulling your hair out over it. It's taking you 5 hours, which is about the average it takes to file a sales tax return without any kind of automation. And it's just a frustrating waste of time. So if any of these sound like you, then you will get a lot out of this presentation. Most of our customers say this. We have a few customers who are accountants, you know, a good chunk of accountants, and they don't say this, but most other people say, I want sales tax to go away. People don't want to deal with this. Sales tax, and I get it, it's not profitable. You shouldn't be making a profit on sales tax. If you're making a profit on sales tax, you're going to jail. Don't do that. But it's just something that people don't want to deal with, and I totally understand. So I'm going to go over the basics, and I feel like, I know you don't want to deal with it, but I feel like kind of if you have your hands wrapped around something like the basics of sales tax, it's going to be kind of less scary and less, you know, an ominous thing that you have to deal with once you understand it. So I hope you'll come along with me for that.
Here's a thought I had on that too, Jennifer. It's so interesting. You're right. So many people don't want to deal with it. Well, as the states become more and more proactive about making sure people are collecting the sales taxes needed, we'll have to deal with it at some point. But if you wait, you don't want to be in a situation where when you do deal with it, it's now you have to pay a bunch of fees. It'd be better to deal with it now so that in the future you can focus on building your business instead of having this little lingering fear in the back of your mind. Wait a minute, did I handle this correctly? Am I going to get in trouble?
Yes, Seth, and that is so true. So many people I talk to, especially when I go to conferences and things like that, people say just like TaxJar gives me peace of mind. Or, you know, I watched a webinar with you, Jennifer, and it really gave me peace of mind. And that, you know, that makes me feel good, that's personally, but also it's just, you know, when you're running a business, you don't want to have to worry that the government can step in and make it all come tumbling down. So yeah, that was a very good point. The sort of the first thing you need to know about sales tax is there's no federal sales tax. The IRS is not at all involved with sales tax in the US. So each state has a sales tax. 45 states and Washington, D.C. all have sales tax. And they each have their own sets of laws. So what that means is what creates sales tax nexus is different in each state. And we'll go over that here in a minute. Taxability. So that means products that are taxable. You may live in Pennsylvania and clothing is not taxable in Pennsylvania. But, you know, in Georgia, where I live, clothing is taxable. Sales tax rates, the same thing. You'll probably notice that you pay, you know, 6% sales tax in some places, 9% in other places, 5% in other places. And then due dates. If you're a sales tax filer, you might file your sales tax by the 20th of the month in some states, by the 25th in some states, by the last day of the month in some states. So just states, they're just different. There's nothing uniform about state sales tax laws, and that can be one of the most complicated things about sales tax. So those are the states with a sales tax in green. That's most of them. Little party trick for you. The states without sales tax are the nomad states, NOMAD. So New Hampshire, Oregon, Montana, Alaska, and Delaware. So now you'll never forget the states that don't have sales tax. And if you live in one of those, lucky you. All right, so what's taxable? Most of the time, tangible items are taxable. So you sell somebody a coffee cup or a toothbrush, that you need to charge sales tax on it. Though common exceptions do include clothing and food. A lot of times, groceries are not taxable in a lot of states. Clothing is not taxable in a lot of the northeastern states for whatever reason. Now, on the other hand, services are mostly not taxable. So say you went and tuned somebody's piano, then that would not be taxable in a lot of states, even though some states are sort of changing those laws. So, you know, most of us here, though, do not provide a service, but just in case you do something like, you know, coaching or designing logos or things like that on the side, then just know that services are mostly not taxable. Now shipping, and that is actually the shipping charge that you charge your customer. I know a lot of us on Amazon, you wouldn't charge shipping for the most part, but you know, say you do charge $5 for shipping or whatever, sometimes that $5 is taxable. And gift wrapping can sometimes be taxable. This is really, you know, mostly only important around the holiday times, but if you're gift wrapping, offered a gift wrapping service, that is also sometimes taxable.
When someone, just real quick question, when someone is shipping a product, you know, I'll use my pipe as an example, cherry wood pipe. If I'm shipping this product out to a customer and it's Amazon FBA, so Amazon is fulfilling it, all the fees that I pay Amazon for shipping, for storage and all that, I don't need to collect taxes on that. I'm just collecting taxes on what the customer pays for this, right?
Oh, great question. And yes, absolutely. Only what the customer pays. The customer pays $10. No, I'm sorry, $150 for a pipe, and then maybe they pay, $5 for shipping. Then you would tax all that, but you don't tax the FBA fees or anything like that.
But if I'm shipping it myself, fulfilled by merchant or fulfilled by me, as some people say, and I'm charging, let's just say charge, $10 shipping. I know that'd be crazy, but just for fun, $10 shipping, and the total is 30. So $20 is the price of the item, another $10 in shipping. In most states or in all states that where you have to pay tax, I would have to collect tax on that total amount, right?
And it's really more like kind of most states or even half the states. But yeah, so most of the states say shipping is taxable and you should charge sales tax on that total $30. Some states though say the shipping is, it's separate, it's its own thing. So you only charge sales tax on the $20. Thankfully, I'm going to show you guys an ebook a little bit later, and we have resources. We'll show you which state shipping is taxable and which it isn't. It's just one of those little things that if you know how to look into a state's code of laws, you can find it, but otherwise it's very difficult to figure out on your own.
Okay, thank you.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. And so I was just going to really quickly go over things that are taxable and things that are not, kind of what we were talking about. So this lamp right here would be taxable in every state. It's just a tangible item, nothing special really about it, even though it's very sleek. This shirt here, some taxable in some states, not taxable in some states. So it just kind of depends on where you're selling. Groceries, the same way, taxable in some states, not taxable in some states. Shipping, same thing. Sometimes it's taxable, sometimes not. This bagel, okay, this is an interesting one. Let's say we're in New York right now and we want to go to the corner deli. We buy a bagel that looks like this, unsliced. It is not taxable in New York. However, we have our deli guy slice the bagel for us. It suddenly becomes taxable. And the reason that is, I know it's very strange, is that unsliced bagel, that's considered a grocery item. You have to take that thing home and eat it. It's a grocery. But this sliced bagel, it becomes a food to eat at the restaurant, like a restaurant food. And all of a sudden it's taxable. So, and most states are like that. Say you buy something at a food truck, say you buy, a roll of bagels at a food truck, it's probably not going to be taxable. But say you buy one bagel to eat, that bagel is going to be taxable. Fortunately, a lot of us don't have food trucks. But yeah, it kind of demonstrates just the sort of craziness that sales tax can get into sometimes. Now, starting with sales tax is the hardest part. Luckily, sales tax can be automated, and I'm going to go into that. But just remember, starting is the hardest part. So that means once you've gotten started, you are over the hump. What the heck is sales tax nexus? A lot of people have a lot of ideas about this word, so we will just quickly talk about it. Basically, nexus, it's a Latin word. It means to tie or bind or join. What it means in the context of sales tax is a presence or connection to a state significant enough for you to be required to comply with that state's sales tax law. So I'll talk about some factors that create nexus. We'll just get into the nitty gritty here. Your home office or your just office or your wherever you work, maybe you work from your kitchen table, you will always have nexus where you are located. Having a retail store, that creates nexus. So that means if you have a retail store in a state, you need to collect sales tax from buyers in that state. An employee, same thing. And even sometimes contractors, depending on what they do, create sales tax nexus. A salesperson. So say you live in Georgia, here where I live, but you send salespeople out to different states to go make sales. Well, those salespeople would create nexus. Selling at a trade show or a craft fair. Sometimes that creates nexus. It once again depends on the state. Some states say, yes, you need to collect sales tax. And some states say, no, don't worry about collecting sales tax. You're only here for a weekend selling at a craft fair.
Quick question, Jennifer.
Sure.
Let's say I have a sales agent. I live in Texas. Let's say I have a sales agent in Nevada. Well, that's not a good example. No, this is a good example. I'm thinking income tax, but they collect sales tax, correct?
Yeah, you would collect sales tax from your Nevada buyers because you have that sales agent in a state.
So let's say he was there. Let's just say he was there for the month of January, but not the rest of the year. Could I stop collecting sales tax the rest of the year because he's no longer there, or does that obligate me for the entire year?
That depends on the state. Many states say that you're obligated for the entire calendar year, which is just, kind of crazy to me. But other states will say, well, if you're only here temporarily, then they'll give you a temporary sales tax permit and you only collect it for the time that you were there. So once again, 46 states, 46 different sets of laws and rules.
Gotcha. Okay.
Crazily enough. And here's the thing that creates nexus for Amazon FBA sellers is a lot of times is going to be storing your inventory in a warehouse. Now with Amazon, as you know, Fulfillment by Amazon, it's very convenient and great to be able to send your stuff in Amazon. It goes up on, the world's biggest, wonderful shopping website, Amazon, and then people can buy from you. However, sort of a cost of doing business on Amazon is you have sales tax nexus in states where Amazon stores your inventory. Now, it helps to think of the way the states view this. States will say, you know what, see this pallet, if this pallet falls on somebody, then our ambulance that we pay for with state money is going to come out and get this guy. You're shipping stuff to people in our state, your big UPS truck or your freight truck is going to drive on our road and we're going to have to repair that road and we need with our state money. So see, that's how states can say you have a significant presence or connection in a state if your inventory is sitting in our state. So I think a lot of times when people think of it that way, it kind of makes more sense because sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like it's just in a warehouse. What? And that's how a state sees that claim. Now, these are states where Amazon has fulfillment centers right now. We have some more coming online any minute now. Utah, Colorado, Missouri pretty soon. Let's see. Yeah, I think those are the only ones. But yeah, so these are states where Amazon has inventory or has fulfillment centers. But unfortunately, you probably won't have your inventory in every Amazon fulfillment center state. Like Connecticut, for example, I'm pretty sure Connecticut's only fulfillment center is for giant items like grills and kayaks and things like that. So if you don't sell any big stuff, you probably don't have inventory in Connecticut. So, and also just, it depends on what you sell. If you sell some things that are popular all over the country, yeah, you might have inventory in every state because Amazon, of course, wants to get your inventory to their buyer as quickly as possible. But if you sell beach balls, you might only be in the coastal states. You just never know. So that's something that you can check with Amazon or check with TaxJar, and we'll show you where your inventory is located. So for Amazon, of course, we know fulfillment is a differentiator. That's what I was just talking about, that they are building more and more fulfillment centers all over the country. Amazon is also investing in other infrastructure. Amazon is using drones and building blimps and doing all kinds of things, about to make another big headquarters somewhere. So Amazon is definitely, trying to get Amazon's goal, get things to people faster. And so, whatever that means to FBA sellers and third-party sellers, we just have to figure that out kind of on our own. Now, there's also federal and state legislation and court cases going on that are changing sales tax all the time. So those are things that are important to keep on top of. I blog about those over at TaxJar because I know you probably don't want to set up a Google alert for every sales tax law and court case going on. Right, Seth?
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I will blog about those for you. And of course, I send you to proper resources and things like that as well so you can research for yourself. But so there's a lot going on with Amazon sales tax. It's always moving. So this is the question I'm sure you're asking right now. Okay, when should I collect sales tax? The golden rule of collection is you collect sales tax when an item you sell is shipped to a customer in a state where you have nexus. So we'll go over a little example of that. Here's our sample seller. He's Joe Seller. Joe lives in Akron, Ohio. He maybe works from his garage. So he has nexus in Ohio because his body and his inventory and garage are sitting there. He only has nexus in Ohio because maybe he's selling on eBay. He's fulfilling everything from home. He's complying in his one state, Ohio. And by complying, I mean he has registered to get a sales tax permit and he's collecting sales tax whenever he makes a sale to someone in Ohio. Here he is in Akron. He makes a sale to someone in Lakewood, Ohio. He collects sales tax. However, here's Joe in Akron. He makes a sale to a customer in Waltham, Massachusetts. He does not collect sales tax. He doesn't have to. It's not his obligation. However, Joe's business is growing. Joe starts using a third-party fulfillment service, and they have a warehouse in Nevada. Nevada's a great place for a warehouse because I think taxes are kind of low, but you can get all those West Coast people pretty quickly. So Joe made a pretty smart decision here. Now, though, with his inventory stored in Nevada, he has nexus in both Ohio, his home state, and Nevada. He's complying in both states, meaning he's collecting sales tax in both states. So if he makes a sale from Ohio or Nevada, doesn't matter where, to a buyer in Ohio or Nevada, he collects sales tax. But he makes a sale to somebody in Iowa, he has no nexus there, no connection. So he does not have to collect sales tax. And now let's
Quick
get
question, Jen.
Sure, Seth.
This question on that. Let's pretend that he has someone buys his product who lives in New York, but they want it shipped to Nevada. In that case, would he still collect sales tax because it's based on where it was shipped, not on where the transaction happened?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked. So sales tax is based on the point of sale. So say you have a brick and mortar store, the point of sale is always going to be there at your brick and mortar store. They're paying you at the cash register and you're giving them their item. But the point of sale in e-commerce is your buyer ship to address. That's where the customer takes possession of the item. So even though, say you live in New York, but you're in Nevada visiting family and you order something on Amazon from Joe, well, Joe should charge you Nevada sales tax because that's where you were taking possession of the item.
So if Susie is the buyer in New York, she's going to pay the tax that is the Nevada tax because it's being shipped to Nevada. So she's paying Nevada tax because the item's being shipped to Nevada and Joe has a nexus in Nevada, right?
Right. And another situation that comes up is when you're sending people gifts. Maybe you buy a gift from the same company all the time and you have it sent to your house and they don't charge you sales tax and you're very happy. But then you try to send it to your sister and all of a sudden you're getting charged sales tax and you're like, hey, what's happening? It's because you're shipping it to a different state and that company has to charge sales tax in that state.
Got it. Okay.
Let's see. Here's Joe. He's using FBA now. So now he has inventory in 5 states. Maybe Joe does sell kayaks or something big and he's only in a few states here. Now he has nexus in 6 states. It's the 5 states where his Amazon inventory is located and Ohio where he lives. So now he makes a sale to any buyer in any of those states and they will ship from any of those other states. Then he collects sales tax on those sales. But he makes a sale to any other state, and a state where you don't have sales tax nexus is often referred to as a remote state, then he does not collect sales tax. So I know that was a bit of a long example, but sometimes it really helps to just spell it out in simple terms because it can be a very complicated concept.
No, it was actually very, very helpful. So thank you.
Oh, I'm happy to. Now, the next question, how much sales tax should I collect? I'm going to go ahead and tell you something great. Is that Amazon, once you've set up your Amazon account to collect sales tax, Amazon takes care of a lot of this for you. Now, if you're trying to make your own shopping cart, maybe you're a programmer, a very technical person, then you would have to deal with this yourself, and it's pretty complicated. Still, though, it is important to understand this stuff, at least, kind of have an inkling of how this works, just so you can, be a little more knowledgeable and file your sales tax returns a little more easily. The way we collect sales tax is called sourcing. That's kind of the logic states use behind sales tax. The state where the item is shipped determines the tax rate. So for example, you live in Texas and you ship an item to somebody in Ohio. Well, you would never charge them the Texas sales tax rate. You would charge them their sales tax rate in Ohio. The tax rate is usually the sum of applicable rates. So those 45 states we talked about, they each have a state sales tax rate. Some of those are really low. I think Colorado's is 2 point something. Some are kind of middling. Connecticut is 6.35, something like that. And then some can be kind of high. Areas, they can also impose a sales tax. And so you might, if you ever read your local newspaper, you might see local sales tax imposed to raise money for a new hospital or for new school buses or something like that. So local rate, local areas. But then there might be also another sales tax. For example, say you're building a mass transit project around several counties, whatever, or building a school district, things like that. So there may be kind of an overarching special taxing district. And I swear this is going to make sense while I'm telling you about this here in a minute. Now, origin versus destination sourcing. Once again, remember I told you like some states want you to collect sales tax on shipping and some don't, about half and half.
Yep.
The same thing goes with for this origin versus destination sourcing. This is probably the last time you'll have to learn about this, so bear with me here. In an origin-based state, if you live in an origin-based state, you charge the tax rate at your home location. So if you're selling stuff from your basement or your garage, you would charge the sales tax rate at your house. So you charge one rate for the entire state. Now, in a destination-based state, this is like the other half of the states, you charge the tax rate where the item is shipped. So that's more of a variable rate. And let me just do an example so you can see what I'm talking about here. I think this one's very helpful with an example. You live in Irving, Texas. Your sales tax rate in Irving is this 8.25% down here, but you make a sale to someone in Archer City. Well, fortunately, Texas is an origin state. So you only have to charge this customer in Archer City your home sales tax rate in Irving. You don't have to care about the sales tax rate in Archer City. You don't have to know it. So it makes your life a little easier. You only have to know the one sales tax rate. Now, on the other hand, New York and most states, probably a few more states than half are destination-based states. So say you live in Stanford, you make a sale to Buffalo. Well, you have to know the sales tax rate in Buffalo and charge that sales tax rate. You don't worry about the sales tax rate in your home area of Stanford.
So a quick question on this, Jennifer,
Sure.
because trying people to track that is pretty intimidating. Oh my goodness. So if I'm shipping to Ohio, based on the location of where it is in Ohio, my tax rate's going to change based on which specific city it's going to? Or are we only referring now to the state where I'm in, shipping to that state?
Yes. So you're mostly on that, what we were talking about, you're referring to the state where you are in, shipping to that state. So
okay. Go ahead. No, you first.
Well, what I was going to say is, so most of the time, though, if you're shipping to a state where your headquarters is not located, and your headquarters can be your basement or whatever, then you would charge the sales tax rate at the buyer's address. So think of it this way. In most cases, probably 80% or more cases, something online, and they pay sales tax on that purchase, they are paying the sales tax rate that they would pay at the corner store in their town. So
right.
Think of it that way. That's mostly what you want to do. And then, and the best news is Amazon takes care of all that for you. You don't have to worry about that origin and destination. As long as you program Amazon correctly, Amazon's got it.
When you go to your settings, set up your taxes, put in the percentages, select the states, that's all taken care of. That's awesome. Okay.
Yes, thankfully, thank goodness, because that's, like I said, that's something you have to, it's good to wrap your arms around, but nothing you need to remember. There's not going to be a test on that. Now let's talk a little bit about selling on Amazon and sales tax while we are there. The good news is Amazon collects for you. We were just talking about that. Seller Central has a tax collection service that Seth mentioned. It costs 2.9% of the tax collected. So say you collect $10 in sales tax, the fee for Amazon to collect the tax will be 29 cents. It's just a fact of life. They're going to be Amazon fees. You kind of have to look at it as a cost of doing business there. And another thing that I want to talk about, product tax codes. If you sell something that's taxed differently sometimes, like remember that bagel or clothing or things like that, you want to put a product tax code on there. And what that'll do is a pair of jeans, if you sell them to someone in Philadelphia, they will not be taxed. But if you sell that same pair of jeans to somebody in Georgia, they will be taxed. And so that just makes sure that you collect sales tax from the right customer, or don't collect sales tax from the right customer. Say you forget to put that product tax code on your jeans and you sell to someone in Philadelphia. They're going to be mad that they had to pay sales tax. They might complain. They might think, oh, you're a scammer. You're keeping the sales tax. Philadelphia people especially, Pennsylvania, they like their tax-free clothes. Like they're really into that. So you definitely don't want to charge them sales tax on clothing if they buy it from your store. Now, the bad news about collecting on Amazon is you do have to enable collection in Seller Central. It's not anything Amazon helps you with. They have maybe one paragraph in Seller Central that says, consult a tax advisor. They don't give you any advice. So Amazon will not tell sellers how to collect, but we can help. TaxStar can help, or where to collect. TaxStar, we can help with that as well. Now, it is easy to collect wrong, like collecting only state tax in a destination-based state, but we have a good ebook and video that, depending on if you want to read or if you want to watch a video, on how to set up your sales tax collection, or you can, of course, always ask a tax advisor. This is our ebook, FBA Sales Tax. It's a free ebook that includes the collection settings for every state, and also it basically includes all this stuff. So all the stuff I'm talking about, if you want to read about it, you can get that ebook at FBASalesTax.com. Excuse me, guys. Air a little dry in here. Yeah. Now let's talk about sales tax filing and deadline. So this is what you do after you have collected your tax you had registered for a sales tax permit. And when you register for that sales tax permit, the state said, hey, we want you to file a sales tax return once a year, or maybe once a quarter, or maybe once a month. States just differ in how often they want you to file. So that's a little list of frequencies right there that you may end up being asked to file. Usually the more tax you collect, the more often you pay. Remember, the states want this money. They want to spend it on roads and schools and things like that. So they don't want you holding on to a bunch of their money. So if they think you have a lot of money, they're going to want you to file monthly. But if you're a very small seller, say, they might ask you to just file annually. Now, filing due dates are different by state as well. So you may be registered in Georgia and California, say. In Georgia, your sales tax will be due on the 20th of the month. In California, your sales tax will be due on the final day of the month. And also, states tend to reevaluate your frequency. So always look for letters from the DOR, because if if your sales jump, the state might say, hey, you need to be paying us more often. And we see that happen, not a lot, but sometimes that sellers will not realize that the state changed their due date. And so they missed 3 sales tax filings because they didn't realize their sales tax was due, and they pay a fine or penalty. So always look out for any communication from the DOR, which stands for Department of Revenue. Here's a typical filing scenario for a customer, or for a sales tax filer, an online seller. As you can see, it's hard to keep a rhythm in that kind of cadence there, because you're paying on the 20th of the month, some states, the last day of the month in some states.
Right.
So just very complicated. Also, you always want to pay on time. Now, some states have a discount for on-time payment. It's usually 1 or 2%, but basically it's like, hey, we understand that collecting sales tax is difficult. We're going to let you keep 1% of all the sales tax you collected up to a threshold of like $100 or something like that. But it's free money, so always take your discounts. Why not? And if you use TaxStar to file your sales tax returns, we take your discounts for you, or we take them on your behalf, and then you get to keep them. So yeah, we take those for you. Here are the states with the sales tax discounts. As you can see, it's over half the states, and most of them are very small, but still, it's a discount. Take that free money. Now, states also have penalties if you're late. It might be a $50 fine for being late, but there'll also be interest on what you owed. And late means something different to different states. Florida is very crazy about late. What they mean is that you have to pay via ACH transfer, but they have to have the money in their account by the 20th of the month. So that means you got to start that ACH transfer by the 17th of the month. And they don't care if there's a weekend in there. So you might have to start it by the 15th of the month or whatever like that. So Florida is just very, they're pretty strict. Other states are a lot more lenient. The check has to be postmarked by a certain date or whatever like that. But you sort of have to know the vagaries of your state. Now, here's another thing that people sometimes kind of don't understand is you have to file a sales tax return on the due date, no matter if you did not collect a lick of sales tax. So if you're registered in that state, you have a sales tax permit in that state, always file. You can get.
I remember when I first started a business in Texas years ago, and after my first quarter, I had no sales. I was trying really hard, but they still sent me the form. And I called them and said, guys, you sent me the form I'm supposed to do something with. And they said, yeah, if it's 0, put in. So I still had to put in 0 and mail that back to them.
Exactly. And that's what we call them, 0 returns. And here are some invalid reasons for skipping filing. You had no sales. That's not good enough. You didn't collect any sales tax, not good enough. Or you were on vacation, not good enough. It doesn't matter. So if you have a sales tax due date, you need to file. Hopefully, you don't have too much of this. This is not always a good sign, but you could have put your business on sabbatical or something like that. So yeah, always file that return when it's due. Now here's how to file. It's all about the data, first of all. You need to gather all the sales tax you collected across all channels. And this is especially important if you sell on something besides Amazon. Like Amazon, you can find your Amazon report, that's fine. But say you also sell on eBay, and we have to figure out how much sales tax you collected on eBay. You file one sales tax return with the state per due date. You don't file one sales tax return for Amazon and one for eBay and one for Shopify, etc. You just file one. So you have to gather all this data and compile it and collate it together. You compile it in the correct format, which depends on the state. Unfortunately, a lot of times that state wants you to tell them how much of the state sales tax rate you collected, how much of the county, how much of the city sales tax rate, how much of the special transportation or education sales tax rates. So you may have collected 8% sales tax from one of your customers, but really, 5% of that was state rate, 2 was county rate, 1 was city rate, whatever. And the state depends on you to tell them that, because then what the state does is they turn around and give that money to the different counties and cities and districts. So they're like, hey, you have to tell us. We don't know where you made sales. You tell us. So that's where sales tax filing just starts getting really crazy and complicated. Some of the common pitfalls, besides just that crazy complicatedness, was forgetting to collect on every channel. Say you forget to set up sales tax collection on Shopify, not collecting accurately. eBay is a really bad one for this. eBay only lets you collect 1 sales tax rate per state. And I think by now you know that some states you need to collect different sales tax rates. So eBay is just not very handy.
Yep, you only spend 1% in your states.
Yeah, it's not good enough for sure. And so it's just, that's something you have to deal with. And then another pitfall is just not enough time to keep up. It's complicated. It's also, remember those sales tax due dates? Some are on the 25th, some are on the 20th. It's so easy to get that mixed up and just forget to file. And then you have a $50 penalty for no reason a lot of times, and in interest. It feels very unfair when you forget to file a sales tax return. Now, filing in those destination states, I told you that. You divide up the money collected. You have to collect the sales tax by jurisdiction. And if you're multi-channel, if you have a spreadsheet and you're trying to all right, let me add my eBay sales in here, it's just getting crazy at that point. So let me show you, this is a California Schedule B form. This is only the top of the form. This form scrolls down and down and down. So this is Schedule B. And you have to put, I collected $1 in this county or $2 in this county or whatever. And luckily they let you round up and down. But unfortunately, sometimes, even though you rounded correctly, they're going to shoot it back and say, oh, this was wrong. Something's wrong with this. So it's just, imagine.
So when you're collecting tax, when you're paying your taxes, for example, in this situation, California, you literally have to take the total and break down based on percentage for each little box, depending on where that shipment was delivered.
Yes. Exactly. And not just for Amazon, for any others that you happen to sell on. Yeah, it's just crazy. And if you have a lot of sales in California, which a lot of people do, California is the most populated state in the union and they're big, online buyers, then it just can take forever. We had a customer who said that they would lock themselves in their office for the weekend to do their California sales tax return.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's god awful. Like, you should not have to do that. That's not
what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'll be, filling out a tax form.
Exactly. I mean, that's not a good use of your time. You need to be, making money, leveraging your time. You don't need to be spending it on an administrative task like sales tax. Now here, that was the California, what they want from you. This is your tax chart report for California. So you can see this is a very small one, but we've broken it down, San Francisco, San Mateo, and we'll tell you, what to put in that box. So we've broken it down for you. Now, most of this is a very tiny one. Most of these are really long. So, but still, it's a lot easier just to get the money or get the amount from TaxStar and you plug it into the state than it is to figure that stuff out first. And now I'll talk about this a little later, but you can also have TaxStar auto file for you. So you don't even want to look at this thing back here. Like, I don't even want to see this. I don't want to deal with it. I'm tired of sales tax. Then TaxStar will auto file your sales tax for you, and you never have to look at it. A lot of people love auto file. This is when I usually ask folks, how are you feeling? Because I see a lot of this, especially when I'm at conferences. Oh my God, a lot of deer in headlights. I have a lot of shy people come up to me after conferences because they're just so, they're almost so overwhelmed. They don't want to ask a question in front of other people. And I hate that. I hate that this is so overwhelming for folks. So one reason we're here to educate. So the next step is what I try to tell you. What do I do now? How do I get started? This is the worst thing you can do. Head in the sand, pretend it doesn't exist. Don't do that. Your best effort, better than no effort. So what I mean by that is just, first, don't drain your resources on it. Don't drain your resources trying to comply. So don't be that guy who goes out and registers for sales tax in all 50 states, even when you don't have to. You definitely want to start out slow and start out educated with sales tax. So, all right, how do you get started? First, comply in your home state. If you live in a state that has sales tax, what 46 of them do, Then you need to register for a sales tax license in that state, enable sales tax collection on Amazon and any other platforms you sell on, and then file and pay whenever a sales tax return due date comes around. So that's definitely step one. You always want to be collecting in your home state, if nothing else, because it's easy for them to find you, because you're filing an income tax return and you say, hey, I sell online. And they're like, oh, well, where's your sales tax return? And
you have your name, to have your address, you have a presence there. Very easy. Yeah.
Yes. You're very easy to find. So always collect in your home state. But the next step is then branch out to new states. So once again, you're selling an FBA, you have inventory in different states. Then you need to decide, all right, I'm going to start collecting in California because California is very aggressive and I have a ton of sales there. You might want to hold off on Kansas. Say you haven't made a sale in Kansas yet, even though your inventory is sitting there. Well, you might want to wait then. So once again, you can be educated. We have a lot of resources at TaxStar to kind of help you know, it's time to register for a sales tax permit now. And then, and collect for all channels in your Nexus states. So Nexus on one channel means Nexus for your entire business. If you have sales tax Nexus in California, just because your sister works for you there as an employee, you still need to collect sales tax from all your buyers in California. Nexus is Nexus is Nexus. Who will know if you comply or if you don't comply? I like to tell people the decision is up to you. Like, you did not start a business so somebody can come in and tell you, hey, you have to do this. But on the other hand, it's good to listen to advisors, knowledgeable advisors who are, trying to help you and who know about, crappy esoteric stuff like sales tax, so you don't have to deal with it. So, it was 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other. The decision to comply, definitely up to you, but let risk tolerance be your guide. And so some things to know is states are getting more desperate for income. States are saying, they're seeing all these e-commerce sellers not collecting sales tax and saying, hey, like we're not getting sales tax from that. We need this. Also, e-commerce is growing. States are kind of behind. They're 10, 15, 20 years behind the times. States are just now kind of cottoning on to the fact that e-commerce is a thing and that there are e-commerce sellers in their midst who are not collecting sales tax. And they are, as they learn, to communicating with each other. For example, Washington, they right now are the most aggressive state when it comes to going after out-of-state sellers for sales tax who sell on Amazon FBA. California is aggressive. Pennsylvania and Arizona are other aggressive states.
So basically, the trend you're seeing, Jennifer, they weren't as aggressive. But what's happening is more and more states are becoming more aggressive. So even though for those of you guys listening right now, you may get along for a while in taxes, for example, in Ohio, even though you have a nexus there. But at some point, the state's becoming more and more proactive. Why not de-risk yourself now instead of waiting, and then you end up having to pay way more later on?
Exactly.
Jennifer, I was thinking, what's so complicated about this is you have, 46 states that you need to know the laws and rules for, and it's almost overwhelming. No, it is overwhelming. It really is. Well, why is that? Well, just 20 years ago, hardly anyone was selling. What was online anyways? Like, it was so minuscule to have sales online. Back then, you would have your own ice cream shop here in Austin, Texas, and you collect taxes just for your state and your local area. So it wasn't a big deal. But now, because we can sell online, with that huge, massive privilege, everyone, comes a massive responsibility. If I get to sell in 46 different states, chances are I'm going to have to also take responsibility for the taxes that I owe those states.
Exactly.
And so it makes total sense. Like, looking at it that way really helps. Yes, it's overwhelming, but just think about this for a minute, Just One Dime members. You get to sell across the country of the U.S. People couldn't do that as easily 30 years ago. Yes, they could ship it. That's true. But to actually do this where it's automated through Amazon FBA, easier to do. Therefore, with that privilege, you have more responsibility. So therefore, it makes sense.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's, once again, it's cost of doing business with Amazon. Amazon does a lot for you, but there are some things that you have to do. And you'll notice Amazon doesn't give you any tax advice. If you write into seller support, they'll say, call an advisor. They won't give you advice. And it's just because they don't want to have to deal with this. They're like, this does not make a profit for us, and we're not dealing with it. This is up to you.
Exactly. And just so everyone knows, at the time of this recording, which is September 15th, 2007, at right now almost 5 p.m. Central, Amazon is not requiring you to collect tax. So don't think, oh, well, just because Amazon doesn't require it, I can get away with it. This is your business. This is your responsibility. So even though they may not require it, Don't allow that to cause you to think it's okay. Make sure you understand the risk and take ownership for that. You own a business, so treat it like that. Back to you, Jen.
Exactly. Oh, and like I was saying, the decision to comply, totally up to you. And now I'm going to talk really quickly about TaxStar can help you in everything from deciding to comply or not to comply to actually filing your sales tax returns.
Awesome.
So TaxStar, does a few things. TaxStar reports, that is where we will give you a state report, and you can take those numbers from your state report, plug them into your state's sales tax filing system, and that just comes, that comes standard with a TaxStar subscription. Now, SmartCalcs, if you're a techie person, you've made your own shopping cart, then we will do all your sales tax collection for you. A lot of people here, we're talking more like FBA sellers. You don't have to worry about that. Thank goodness. That's pretty difficult. But then TaxStar AutoFile, what that does is if you never want to look at another sales tax return again, and I don't blame you, then we will file for you from just $19.95 per filing. So say you have to file 4 times a year, you would pay $19.95 for each of those filings. So 4 times a year. So it'd be like 80-ish bucks a year for AutoFile.
That's unbelievably low. And just so you guys know, Jennifer and I did not set up some deal. This is not even an affiliate link. I'm not getting paid. The reason we picked TaxStar to do this presentation, number one, when I Google online, chief content creator, when I Google online a question about taxes in Amazon, can you guess what usually comes up on the first page? Good job on the SEO, Jennifer. It's TaxStar. They really have established an authority because of the knowledge. So I trust them with this, and they've been doing this for thousands of Amazon sellers. So number one, I want you guys to know that. So number two, if you decide to get TaxStar services, again, this is not an affiliate link. I'm not getting paid for it. We're doing this to provide you value, to help you. And so this training is part of the program. And this is probably already said, but I want to say it now. You guys get a 10% discount. So again, part of the privilege of being Just One Dime, you'll get a 10% discount. Use the Just One Dime words in the coupon box when you check out TaxStar. But either way, whether or not, that's totally up to you. We want to make sure you guys have the content you need so you can make a wise decision when it comes to collecting taxes.
Absolutely, Seth. I'm glad you said that. And we do. We have over 700 blog posts on our blog. We have ebooks. We have videos on our YouTube channel. We're just trying to educate you. And if you need us, you need us. If you don't need us, you don't. You may be an eBay seller who lives in Connecticut. Connecticut has 1 sales tax rate in the entire state. You may not need TaxStar. You probably won't, as a matter of fact. But we're happy to at least educate you so you know that you don't need us, instead of having you staying up at night wondering, like, oh my gosh, am I doing sales tax right? Am I doing sales tax wrong? It's just really important for us to kind of move the needle on how online sellers can make money and not have to worry about this administrative hassle that is sales tax. Now, I talked a little bit about multi-channel. Amazon sellers we love you guys. It's our first integration over there. We connect with all those carts. We actually, and I should have added it here, we just added Walmart. So if you're selling on Walmart, you can connect your Walmart account to TaxStar.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we like it. We enjoyed working with Walmart there. Now, this is your TaxStar dashboard. So if you get a TaxStar account, you can try a 30-day free trial, by the way. You log in, you'll see all your different states where you might have sales tax nexus. And from there, you can see, so this is the page just for Amazon sellers. Sorry, I forgot the screen was here for a minute. So Amazon sellers, if you don't know where your inventory is being stored, say you have no idea, we will show you, see California, Florida, Indiana, we are seeing your inventory shipping to customers from warehouses in those states with those little brown Amazon badges.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, so that just shows you like, okay, these are states I need to start worrying about or start thinking about at least. Now, if you drill down to one of those states, looks like this person drilled down to California, then we will show you how much sales tax you collected in each city, county, taxing jurisdiction, whatever else that state wants to see. So each state paid, this page for each state is made like the sales tax return for the state. So it's very easy for you to just plug the numbers from TaxStar into your state. Also, we have this feature, are you collecting the right amount of sales tax? So some common pitfalls people might forget to set up sales tax collection in every state on their eBay or Shopify or Walmart account or whatever. So if you forget that, then we'll show you your number here on your TaxStar dashboard will be yellow. and we'll say, hey, collection seems off. Here's what we're seeing. Here's what's actually happening. And so that will help you, figure out, hey, I'm doing something wrong. It will also—
Jennifer, real quick, if the person who's using the service, if they have a question, like when they get to that part and it says something's off, and think, okay, what do I need to do? What is the support like at TaxStar? Do they call you guys? Do they email you? Do they chat you? Do they go to a Q&A database? What does that look like?
We have all those things. So yeah, we have phone support, we have email support, we have a Q&A database so you can search for yourself. And we are open 5 days a week, but we try to get to you within several hours at the most. A lot of times we get right back to you. We have 60 reviews over on Amazon, which is amazing, on Amazon's solution partners page. And a lot of those reviews talk about how the support is so great at TaxStar. So I'm not in support. I mean, sometimes I'll support you if you ask me a question on Facebook or something like that. But those guys are just like, they're killer. Like I admire them so much. They do a good job. Sorry, I know I went off on a tangent there, but they're really just, they're doing the work of the angels in our support section.
Thank you. That's really good to know.
And let's see here. Okay, and then TaxStar will also automatically file your returns. Once again, you never want to file again, you're busy, then we will file for you. And it costs $19.95 per filing. Those are the states where we auto file, every state, except for the ones that don't have a sales tax, of course. So for a long time, we didn't file in a couple key states, but now we file in every state. So we're very excited about that. And we are also excited about our more than 9,000 happy customers. I'm from Atlanta, so Coca-Cola for me was an extremely big accomplishment, even though I had nothing to do with actually winning the customer. But American Cancer Society, Dell and Sony, and just all these big names, they use TaxStar. We're very excited to have those. And I just want to say, just because we have some big names on here that people have seen, it doesn't mean that we care any less about, maybe you don't have a brand that's well known. Well, you're going to get the same support and the same customer service that any of these big guys would get, for sure.
That's incredible.
And now we have our helpful resources. We mentioned that earlier. We have that YouTube channel, Sales Tax Community. That's our Facebook group. So if you have a sales tax question, you can, believe it or not, 8,000 people, store owners and tax pros, want to talk about sales tax. And then, of course, our TaxStar blog, blog.taxstar.com, pretty much ask any sales tax question that you have, and you can find content about that. And all of the content, like you might find sales tax content on another blog or on another website, but it's not written with e-commerce sellers in mind. So you have to translate it. So on our blog, we write with e-commerce sellers in mind. It's always an e-commerce seller first approach there.
That's excellent.
And that's our phone number. Of course, you don't have to write this down right now. You can find it on our website in the top corner. And just a little more, 30-day free trial. And we start at $19 a month, but you can go to our pricing page and see our pricing. Like, so for up to 1,000 transactions is $19 a month, and $19.95 to auto file the returns. But here's that special offer again. So use that code JUST1DIME. You get 10% off an annual plan with TaxStar, and annual plans are already 10% off. So it's really like you're getting 20% off an annual plan with TaxStar. So you think that $19 a month, and divide or multiply that by 12, and then take 20% off of that. So it's a pretty good deal, and nice. Especially the peace of mind of not having to worry about sales tax. And other than that, I love questions. So use any of those ways to get in touch with me, or Seth, if you have any questions right now, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, I just want to add that we're going to include everyone. We will include all that contact information as well right beneath this training, so you have that. And then also you can click to go directly to TaxStar. Jennifer, this has been really helpful. Thank you so much for providing this training. If you were to give any last words of advice or just recommendations to people, especially those people who are just starting out on Amazon, there's been a huge flood of new people starting in Amazon trying to figure out how to do this. What would you tell them? What is the easiest way to get that set up? What would be your most important advice you would give them before we close this up?
I would definitely say make sure that you're collecting the right amount of sales tax, just because if you collect too little, then you're going to owe out of your pocket to the state. If you collect too much, then your customers are going to get angry and, hey, why am I paying this too much in sales tax? So do that. And also just like I said, getting started is the hardest part. It sounds overwhelming. I know probably even after watching this, you might have your arms around it a little more, but it's still a little overwhelming. But really, it's kind of like once you get in there and you see a form and you see a sales tax registration and you see this stuff, it's a lot easier than it sounds. You're not going to have to know, there's not going to be a quiz on this. You just got to get it done so you can get on to running your business. Like don't worry about knowing the history of sales tax and all that stuff.
Right. And the nice thing about it too, guys, is the reason we're putting this training at the very beginning of the training, because if you set it up right, then later, once it's set up, then you can focus on building your business. So you're not constantly worrying about what to do in your business, because there's always things we have to do in our business, but you can also work on your business so that you can scale. And that way you've taken care of that. Jennifer, this has been really, really helpful. Thank you so much for being here today, and looking forward to your awesome Q&A session at the summit in March in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to see you guys.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, have a good rest of your evening and have a great weekend.
All right. Bye, everyone.
All right. Thank you.